The pre-dawn era of the city is often called the dead zone, a time when the world sleeps and ambition lies dormant. But in the shadowed quiet, a silent revolution is underway, starting not with a roar, but with the gentle chime of a 5 a.m. alarm. This is the story of a global phenomenon, a movement of high achievers, artists, and leaders who claim their success is fundamentally linked to this sacred, solitary hour. We begin with the paradox. In a world obsessed with more sleep and less stress, why are the most driven among us intentionally sacrificing comfort for the cold discipline of the morning? Our opening hook must frame this choice not as a mere productivity hack, but as a deep, psychological, and often painful personal transformation. We introduce the key concept of the 20/20/20 formula and the victory hour, suggesting that this isn't just about waking up early, it's about microdosing personal mastery into the very start of the day. The camera sweeps over empty cityscapes, the transition from blue-hour darkness to the first light of dawn, juxtaposing the stillness of the world with the furious, focused activity happening behind closed doors. We hear an anonymous voice, a successful CEO, describing their life before 5 a.m., a cycle of burnout, reactivity, and unfulfilled potential, and then the transformative shift when they finally embraced the club. This narrative sets the stage for an exploration into the almost mythical power of the early morning, where the greatest battles for success and personal freedom are won long before the masses stir. The segment closes with the question, is this routine the secret weapon of the elite, or simply an unsustainable relic of a bygone era, and what is the real price of entry? The pursuit of the uncommon results, through uncommon commitment, is the central theme we must establish immediately to engage the audience. Our stage is the modern landscape of high performance, an era defined by relentless digital distraction and the crippling disease of busyness. The environment is one of noise, where true creative space has been annihilated by the constant demands of the immediate. The 5 a.m. club emerges as a countercultural refuge, a digital detox zone carved out of the day. We introduce our primary subjects, composite characters drawn from the archetypes central to the book's philosophy, the entrepreneur, the artist, and the mentor. The entrepreneur is a hard-driving executive who has achieved material success but is deeply unhappy and spiritually depleted, seeking a way to reclaim his humanity from his hustle. The artist is a struggling creative, overwhelmed by self-doubt and unable to find the focused, quiet time necessary to produce their best work, their creative genius smothered by procrastination. The mentor, an older, accomplished figure, acts as the guide, the one who has already mastered the 5 a.m. philosophy and holds the keys to the morning mastery system. We establish their initial states of desperation and yearning, their shared sense that something fundamental is missing from their lives, even as they chase conventional success. Their paths converge at a seemingly random event, a conference or a chance meeting, where the first gospel of the 5 a.m. club is preached. This section details their skeptical but desperate agreement to try the extreme discipline of an early start, contrasting their current chaotic lives with the promised serenity and productivity of the dawn. The groundwork is laid for their shared journey of self-discovery, fueled by the hope that sacrificing an hour of sleep can truly mend a broken life. The initial problem presented to our subjects is the crisis of focus and the epidemic of average. The core mystery is deceptively simple: why do so many talented people fail to reach their true potential? The answer, according to the mentor, is not a lack of talent or opportunity, but a failure to protect the most valuable resource: the first hour of the day. We delve into the psychological and neuroscientific basis of this problem. The documentary-style narration explains the concept of the twin cycles of output, where the world's most successful individuals operate on a fundamentally different, proactive time management cycle. The mystery deepens as we explore the concept of the firefighting fallacy, the tendency to start the day in a reactive state, immediately answering emails, checking news, and solving other people's problems, thereby ceding control of one's personal and professional agenda. This section uses graphics to illustrate how a typical day for our subjects starts with a flood of cortisol and digital noise, leading to decision fatigue and compromised creative output by noon. The core mystery is why this self-sabotaging behavior is so pervasive, and why the simple act of waking up earlier is so incredibly difficult to maintain. The mentor challenges the subjects. Their lives are complex and messy because they are trying to do great things in a state of depleted intellectual and spiritual capital. The solution is the early morning, which offers a sanctuary to rebuild this capital, a period of uninterrupted flow before the world's demands encroach. The first major clue is the introduction and practice of the 20/20/20 formula. This is the practical engine of the 5 a.m. Club and the crucial discovery for our skeptical subjects. It's not just about setting the alarm, it's about what they do in that first hour. The formula breaks the victory hour into 3 distinct 20-minute pockets, each designed for a specific developmental purpose: move, reflect, and grow. The subjects begin their initial, painful attempts to execute this formula. We see the entrepreneur, sweating through a morning run, move, hating every second but feeling a primal sense of having done something for himself. We see the artist, struggling to journal their chaotic thoughts, reflect, slowly finding clarity amidst the early morning silence. And we see the initial, almost miraculous, effect of the final 20 minutes, grow, dedicated to learning and skill building, which injects new knowledge and energy into their creative reservoirs. The crucial discovery is the concept of transient hypofrontality, a neuroscience term explained by an expert, which suggests the brain in the early morning is in a state uniquely receptive to creative flow and deep work, before the prefrontal cortex is fully engaged in the complex planning of the day. The subjects realize the morning is not merely empty time, but a period of biological and psychological peak performance that they have been consistently squandering. This realization is the first true shift in their mindset, moving them past simple discipline and into genuine curiosity about the method's deeper power. We now pivot to the historical and philosophical context of the 5 a.m. habit. This section grounds the club's philosophy in a lineage of high achievers. The voiceover provides a deep dive into figures throughout history, from Benjamin Franklin and his meticulous morning schedule to modern titans like Oprah Winfrey and Richard Branson, who have all attributed a significant portion of their success to disciplined, early morning routines. We established that the 5 a.m. Club is not a new invention, but a refined and modernized distillation of an ancient principle: he who owns the morning, owns the day. The context is further enriched by exploring the spiritual and contemplative traditions that emphasize dawn as a time of sacred power and introspection. We investigate the origins of the book's central metaphor, the fictional, flamboyant billionaire and the heartbroken artist, the vehicles through which the principles are taught. This narrative framework is analyzed as a clever pedagogical device, a modern fable designed to deliver complex psychological principles in an accessible, emotionally resonant way. The segment highlights the importance of the four focuses of history makers: capitalization IQ, distraction defense, personal mastery, and contribution, showing how the morning routine is merely the delivery system for these deeper philosophical tenets. The goal is to elevate the practice from a mere time management trick to a profound, time-tested strategy for life mastery, giving our subjects the intellectual conviction to sustain their daunting new habit. The stakes escalate as our subjects face their first major resistance, and the conflicting theories challenge the sustainability of the 5 a.m. life. The first internal conflict is physical, the crushing exhaustion and the temptation to relapse into old, comfortable habits. An expert on sleep science presents the opposing viewpoint: the critical importance of sufficient sleep and the potential dangers of chronic sleep deprivation, arguing that the 5 a.m. club is a form of toxic productivity. This external scrutiny raises the stakes for our protagonists. The entrepreneur's work colleagues mock his early hours, suggesting he is sacrificing performance for a fad. The artist struggles when a late night required for a social event derails the entire next morning, leading to a profound sense of failure. The documentary style allows us to present these two conflicting theories, the necessity of sacrifice versus the primacy of sleep, as a legitimate debate. The mentor's theory is the counterargument: the 5 a.m. club demands early to bed as much as early to rise. It's a complete life redesign, not just an early alarm. The true sacrifice, the mentor argues, is the sacrifice of average, of low-value evening leisure that only leads to exhaustion, not true rest. The escalating stakes are personal. The subjects must now choose to either internalize this holistic life change or risk a return to the burnout and dissatisfaction that plagued them before, proving the skeptics right. The emotional weight of this decision drives the narrative forward. This section marks the emotional and physical commitment that solidifies the 5 a.m. routine for our subjects, the point of no return. The entrepreneur faces a major professional crisis, a looming deadline or a business negotiation where his mental clarity is tested to its maximum. It is here that the consistent, incremental intellectual capital built during his victory hours pays off. He finds the creative solution, the unexpected leverage, or the focused negotiation strategy that he attributes directly to his protected morning solitude. For the artist, the point of no return is a creative breakthrough, the moment the quiet journaling and skill growth coalesce into a piece of transcendent, meaningful art. They finally experience the elusive feeling of flow state, recognizing that this deeper concentration is the true payoff of their discipline. The mentor introduces the concept of the four interior empires: mindset, heart set, health set, and soul set, and the subjects realize the 5 a.m. routine is not a collection of fragmented tasks, but a holistic system for optimizing their inner lives. This shift from external discipline to internal identity is the true turning point. Waking at 5 a.m. is no longer something they do, but who they are. The cost of quitting now outweighs the effort of continuing, as they have glimpsed their full potential and the price of going back is too high. The narration emphasizes the concept of automaticity. The routine has become an embedded habit, a non-negotiable part of their success identity, making a reversal feel like a betrayal of their future selves. The midpoint twist reveals that the 5 a.m. club is not, in its final form, purely about productivity. It is fundamentally about psychological detoxification and spiritual reclamation. The subjects have gained time, but the true revelation is the clearing of emotional and mental clutter. They realized they were not just procrastinating on their work, but procrastinating on their healing. The mentor facilitates a deeper exploration into the heart set, forcing the subjects to confront old emotional wounds, fears, and limiting beliefs that were previously masked by the noise of their busy, reactive lives. The artist discovers that their self-doubt was not a lack of talent but a lack of self-worth that the early morning reflection finally brought to the surface. The entrepreneur, for the first time, realizes the emptiness of his material success and begins to redefine his life's purpose beyond merely accumulating wealth. The twist is the shift from achieving more to becoming more. The morning is not a tool for corporate domination but a crucible for self-purification. The documentary includes testimonials from others in the club who initially sought career advancement but stayed for the profound improvements in their relationships, inner peace, and personal meaning. This revelation reframes the entire narrative. The discipline is not the end goal, but the necessary precondition for true inner freedom and genuine happiness, changing the audience's perception of what the victory hour truly means. This section provides new evidence through the lens of positive psychology and the profound psychological impact of the routine. We introduce the tightening your 5 Ps principle: prioritization, peculiar planning, protection, pacing, and productivity. This evidence explains how the early hours translate directly into high-level, sustained performance. The subjects detail how they are now making fewer, better decisions, driven by the clarity gained in their morning solitude. The psychological impact is quantified through expert interviews discussing the reduction in cortisol levels, stress hormone, and the increase in dopamine and serotonin, focus and happiness hormones, observed in early risers who engage in purposeful activity. New evidence suggests that by front-loading the day with wins, completing the 20/20/20 formula, individuals activate the progress principle, which fuels momentum and motivation for the subsequent hours. The artist notices a dramatic decrease in resistance to starting their work, and the entrepreneur reports a significant improvement in emotional regulation and empathy during stressful meetings. The greatest psychological impact is the reversal of the feeling of being a victim of circumstance to becoming the architect of one's own reality. This sense of ownership and agency, that their success is now purely a result of their intentional effort, is the most potent mental shift. We see a powerful visual: the subjects, once haggard and overwhelmed, now appear centered, calm, and powerfully focused, demonstrating the profound internal change wrought by the routine. Despite the personal victories, the inherent discipline of the 5 a.m. club inevitably faces attempts to suppress the truth from the external world and internal saboteurs. This is the section on resisting the cult of average and the destructive power of mass distraction. The external pressure manifests as the digital monster, the omnipresent pull of technology, social media, and instant communication that seeks to steal the subject's attention back. The documentary explores the insidious nature of infinite scrolling and notifications, framing them as deliberate assaults on the creative mind's necessary solitude. The truth being suppressed is the simple, inconvenient fact that greatness requires unpopular choices. The subjects must learn to implement the distraction defense, creating a fortress of focus around their most valuable hours and resisting the urge to check their phones or yield to the demands of others. The internal suppression comes in the form of the comfort zone, the siren call of the warm bed, and the rationalization that just one day off won't matter. The mentor provides the defense, the second washing technique, where any small relapse is immediately addressed with renewed commitment, preventing a single failure from becoming a total surrender. The struggle demonstrates that the 5 a.m. Club is not a one-time achievement, but a continuous act of intentional rebellion against the forces of mediocrity and digital enslavement, proving that maintaining this lifestyle is the real, ongoing work. The pursuit and confrontation is the final, high-stakes test of the subject's commitment, where they must apply their learned principles under extreme pressure. The entrepreneur is forced into a confrontation with a toxic workplace culture that glorifies burnout and undervalues personal time. He must now stand his ground, not just for his own schedule, but for his fundamental belief in the power of a life lived with balance and purpose. The artist pursues a major professional opportunity, an exhibition or a contract, that requires a massive, sustained creative effort. Their confrontation is with their own inner demons, the fear of failure, the pressure of a deadline, and the temptation to revert to chaotic, all-night work sessions. The segment highlights the concept of the practice of strategic retreat, showing how the subjects use their established 5 a.m. system to recharge and regroup, rather than burning out. They don't push harder, they retreat to their victory hour to rebuild their internal capital before re-entering the fray. The core confrontation is the moment they realize they are no longer dependent on external circumstances for their success or happiness. Their power comes from their internal routine, a consistent source of mental, physical, and spiritual energy that cannot be taken away by any external crisis. This unwavering internal foundation is the ultimate proof that the system works, not just for productivity, but for resilience. In this pivotal section, the final pieces fall into place as the subjects fully integrate the principles into their lives, moving beyond the mechanics of the 5 a.m. routine into a state of holistic self-mastery. The focus shifts to the concept of lifetime leadership, the idea that true success is measured not just by external achievement but by one's ability to inspire others. The subjects begin to mentor and teach the principles they have learned, realizing that contribution is the final, most fulfilling empire to build. The artist's work now carries a message of hope and personal transformation, the art itself becoming a testament to the power of discipline. The entrepreneur uses his platform to implement more humane and effective work policies, valuing employee well-being and focused work over mere presence. The final pieces of the puzzle are revealed to be the subtle, yet profound, changes in their character, the growth of patience, the deepening of relationships, and the consistent feeling of quiet joy. This is the stage where the metaphor of the monk becomes clear. The pursuit of solitude and self-discipline leads not to isolation, but to an abundance of inner resources that can be shared generously with the world, making them more effective leaders and more compassionate human beings. The truth revealed, the primary conclusion of the entire journey, is simple yet revolutionary. The 5 a.m. Club is not a time management strategy, it is a self-respect ritual. The documentary style crystallizes this truth, explaining that the act of honoring the 5 a.m. promise is the deepest form of self-love, and that all external success flows from this internal contract. The mentor delivers the final, crucial teaching. The entire system is built on the philosophy of the world-class choice, which states that the quality of one's life is determined by the quality of one's choices, and the easiest choice to get right is the first one of the day. The subjects, now transformed, reflect on their journey. They were looking for a quick fix for productivity but found a life-altering system for character development. The entrepreneur admits his former success felt hollow because it was reactive. His current success feels meaningful because it is intentional. The artist reveals that the quiet of the morning forced them to listen to their truest voice, silencing the inner critic and allowing their genius to emerge. The final truth is the affirmation that genius is not reserved for the few. It is a discipline available to anyone willing to pay the price of admission, the discomfort of the early morning. The morning is the mirror, and what is reflected back is the true, uncompromised self, ready to perform at its peak. This section explores the aftermath, legacy, and modern ties of the 5 a.m. movement, demonstrating its ongoing relevance in a hyper-connected world. We look at the ripple effects of the subject's transformation on their families, communities, and industries, showing how personal mastery inevitably leads to positive societal change. The legacy of the 5 a.m. Club is not the specific time, but the mindset of protection, the conscious decision to create boundaries around one's time, energy, and focus. This principle is tied to modern trends in wellness, productivity, and the growing demand for digital minimalism, making the ancient practice relevant to today's anxieties. We showcase new members of the club, diverse individuals across different continents and professions, all united by the same early morning discipline. The modern ties are found in the research supporting the benefits of chronotypes and how the principles can be adapted for those who are not natural larks, proving that the core message is universal: find and protect your sacred hour, whenever it may be. The segment uses animated maps to visualize the club's global spread, showing the movement as an underground network of high performance and inner peace. The message is one of hope. In a world that pulls you in a million directions, the 5 a.m. Club offers a simple, powerful pathway back to the self. The final section provides a concluding summary, and leaves the audience with the lingering mystery that defines the true nature of mastery. The summary reiterates the journey, from burnout to breakthrough, from chaos to calm, all fueled by the consistent application of the 20/20/20 formula and the 4 interior empires. The core takeaway is that discipline is the cost of freedom. By embracing the discomfort of the early hour, the subjects secured the priceless freedom to design their days, their work, and their lives with intentionality. We leave the audience with a powerful visual: our subjects, now in a state of quiet confidence, completing their morning routine as the sun rises. The lingering mystery is not about the logistics of the club, but about the future of human potential. What is the ceiling of achievement when an individual consistently and purposefully operates from a state of peak mental, physical, and spiritual capital? The film concludes by suggesting that the 5 a.m. Club is not a destination but a continuous path of self-evolution. The final shot is a single alarm clock, set to 5 a.m., poised and waiting. The ultimate challenge remains unspoken: the truth has been revealed, the path has been illuminated, but the choice to step into the quiet, sacred hour, the choice to join the winners, belongs entirely to the viewer.